chief political columnist and reporter covering the White House for 30 years. And he will be joined here by Grover Norquist, U.S. Representative Jake Ellzey, and Senator Pete Rickler. Please give them a hand.
You may be seated. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it is a pleasure. No, it's a real honor for me to be here to moderate this distinguished panel. I will say that the work of the International Democratic Union is known, and it's especially known to me. When my late wife worked for the IRI, the International Republican Institute, the annual get-togethers of the IDU here and abroad were always part of her agenda. And what I didn't know about it, I certainly learned from her. So again, I am honored to be here today. Now, I never thought that I would have a group like this to my left, but starting on the far left, oh, I love saying that, Congressman Jake Ellzey from Texas. He served in the armed forces, was elected to Congress in a special election, and I might add, is only the 5th person in the last 60 years to win his seat over the widow of his predecessor. A little bit of history. Grover Norquist is someone who is a major figure in the American and the international conservative movement. The very pledge not to raise taxes has evolved into a cause célèbre of getting rid of income taxes and taxes in general. President of Americans for Tax Reform, my friend of decades, Grover Norquist. And then to my immediate left is someone who spent a lifetime in the private sector and did pretty well. His family owns the Chicago Cubs baseball team, among other things. He was governor of Nebraska and then became United States Senator from the Cornhusker State, Pete Ricketts. Now, I should say Senator Ricketts, due to the confines of the Senate and what's coming up on its agenda, will have to leave midway through the panel. So I will start with questions for him. Senator, my late friend Bruce Hershenson taught the honors course on foreign affairs at Pepperdine University. He used to have a saying, foreign policy is discussed for perhaps 20 minutes in an American presidential campaign. That said, it was probably at least an hour in this last campaign. We have a new president coming in. We're going to talk about, can Donald Trump make America great again? Let's start at this level. Can the president chart a new course on Ukraine and its war with Russia? And if so, what do you expect him to do?
Yeah, I would say in general, and thank you very much. I want to thank the IDU for allowing me to be on the panel here today. And I'm sorry, I've got to vote and I may have to run out and go do get picky about the timing of these things sometimes. But what you're going to find is a complete reversal away from the appeasement first policies of the Biden administration and the weakness that projected on the foreign stage, going back to the disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan that cost American lives, including in Nebraska, Corporal Dagan Page, leaving Americans and our Afghan security partners behind, to what he's done with regard to allowing Iran to have oil money, to just in general the weakness that he's projecting on the world stage. And in part, I think that's what contributed to Putin's invasion of Ukraine. Putin saw Biden as being weak, and so he saw this as an opportunity. Well, with Trump coming back into office, there's going to be a new sheriff in town. And what you're going to see is President Trump believes in peace through strength. And he is going to take a much harder line. I mean, President Biden, provided aid to Ukraine, but it's like pulling teeth, whether it was F-16s or, the Patriot systems or ATACMS or Abrams tanks. It was just a little bit, trickle at a time. President Trump is going to take a much harder line, and I believe that he will be able to get an agreement on this. It's obviously he's made it a part of his campaign that he's going to get this war ended. I think he's going to do it in a way of projecting strength and negotiating with our adversaries out.
Okay. While I've got you, former German Chancellor Angela Merkel, whose memoir, Freedom, came out in the last week, wrote highly critical things about Donald Trump and